Hello and welcome to the Sweeney Show, Business and Law podcast.
And it's Murray. And here's Holland! Jonny Holland given the chance to play in the big game. The young man is on fire here.
Joining me here today is Jonny Holland. Johnny is Sunday as well. Cork,
Yeah.
Munster Rugby, former professional rugby player who was hit with a really devastating injury, I suppose you'd say. So 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, was it?
Because I actually got the injury over 4 years ago now.
Oh, was it?
But I
Were
retired.
you carrying that then for?
Yeah, I came back and I played. Some of my games were with that hamstring injury, but
Okay.
so I went through like 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago now. I went through kind of over a year of rehab, and then I came back for a small while, and I'm 2 years retired now. So two and a bit
Okay.
years retired.
And like, what was the initial injury? So like, would you just tear a hamstring normally, or did it go quite
Jesus,
further?
there's nothing normal.
Yeah.
I tore the hamstring tendons at the top of my hamstring. They all came off the bone.
Okay.
So
And was that like tackle? Were you running? Was it that kind of
the
a?
worst thing was I was trying to poach.
Okay.
There was
Is
a
that
ball,
quite
like,
similar to the Paul Connell
Yeah,
type?
yeah, everything, and that's kind of probably the best way to,
back it, yeah.
except he was properly poaching, and he was Paul O'Connell, whereas
Yeah.
I was before him,
Okay.
and I wasn't
Outhalfs
properly.
don't usually
I was
poach in it,
reaching. I just remember reaching too far, and like, a fella
Okay.
just Conor Carey's his name. He's up in Connacht now.
Okay.
Not that I hold a grudge, but
Conor,
he-
come on.
no, 'cause I know Pete McCabe is up there, and
Okay,
he'll
yeah.
be speaking to Conor quite a bit, and I know
Yeah.
he's kind of still be kind of freaked
Yeah.
about it. But I mean, it wasn't his fault. He came in and just cleared out the ruck,
Yeah.
and I just remember reaching a slight bit, but like, I mean, I can't.
Did you know
really-
straight away there was something was?
No, like I knew straight away that I felt this kind of like I describe it as a bit of a clawing of my hamstring. Like I knew something I knew it had bad enough tear my hamstring, but I didn't think it was going to be hamstring off the bone, because it felt like it was a lot lower down. And I've heard like Brian O'Hara that I played with in Cork, he did his hamstring off the bone, I think, just before I got into the sub academy, and I heard that was supposed to be one of like, you know, the sorest things you'll do, throw the ACLs and
Yeah.
hamstring off a bone and whatever else. Like, but I just felt like something could have been worse, even though I was in a fair bit of pain. Like, I'm not saying I'm the hard man. I just thought something could have been.
Yeah.
I thought it was definitely not the worst thing I could have done in my head. Like, you know, but I thought it was a significant enough hamstring tear, but not exactly. I didn't know things come off the bone like that. I'd never experienced it, like, so I wasn't sure. But
And then, so you take some time out, bit of recovery.
a bit of time out, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of a.
But you did. What I mean is that before you tried to go back play again.
Yeah, like we did 13 months rehab, but it was supposed to be a 6-month injury. So
Did you end up playing a game, or was it training?
yeah, I was in a game.
Okay.
Yeah, so an A game in Cork
Okay.
against Nottingham. We had the return fixture, so we played them away. I just come back from a kind of a shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to me, AC joint or something like that.
Yeah.
Couple of week job and a couple of weeks, and I came back in the game over there, did all right, like, but I wasn't massively happy with it. And then I came back, played the return fixture, and that happened. So it wasn't exactly a good run of
Yeah.
form, but 13 months out in the end, because it's just complications in the rehab, I suppose.
So let's just go back there. We can get into injury, the rehab, and the mindset that actually gets you
Yeah.
through an injury in a while. But like when you first started playing rugby, say, you know, even with Cork, and you're kind of knocking on the door of the Munster senior team or the academy, but you didn't have, like, we call it the normal schools pathway to rugby, did
No.
you? You know, like there's kind of a, in Cork, in Limerick as well, you know, you go to your schools rugby, make senior cup team, and then step into your academies. You're in the shop window there. So what's your rugby story?
I played at every club in Cork when I was young anyway.
Okay.
My dad was in Douglas when I was young, very young, so he was playing junior rugby there, and I think
And was you twin brother?
I have a triplet.
Oh, triplets. And did you all play together, or did
Well,
you?
So it's a brother and a sister. She
Okay.
didn't play rugby, but
Okay.
we played together in Douglas. We were 5, I think. My dad was training the under
Jeez,
6s.
I've just had like a newborn baby 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I don't know how did your parents cope with triplets?
Well, in 4 or 5 years now, there'll be rugby
Yeah.
pitches
Yeah,
and
yeah.
triplets as
Yeah.
we were shoved out the door to school. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
So it was
a
a fun
story.
house, is it?
What's
It was
that?
a fun house
You
growing
know,
up.
well, maybe not for them,
Yeah.
but it was for us, having 2 people to bounce off all the time. Like, was
Yeah.
grand, you know. But
So yourself and your brother, then you went on the rugby pathway.
Yeah, so we played in Douglas when we were about 5, I think, but his friend was in coaching over in Dolphin, so we went over there. And the setups then underage at that level, like they weren't really any good.
Yeah.
There wasn't barely numbers there, like, so we did the controversial thing and crossed over the bank into Sun as well for 8 years. So we went there about 10 to 18, and I went off to college then. So.
And did you enjoy your Sun as well? Years?
Oh yeah, like we were fairly successful in terms of getting to finals. Like you know the way the 2-year kind of age group goes, we were always very competitive with our own year, and then the year above us I think wasn't as competitive. The Highfielders kept beating us in that year. Like we'd get to the final and we beat teams by quite a bit, but then Highfield would kind of, that was the James Crone and Paddy Ryan and Kevin O'Byrne kind of group. Yeah,
that was a big stable players coming
they were good, like, you know, even fellas that aren't playing at Munster now at the time for under 16 and 18 rugby, like they were all quite good, so we were up against it. But then when we went back to our age, we were fairly competitive there as well, like, so it was always good fun in Sun as well. But I suppose me going off to college and my brother staying with Sun as well for a while, that was kind of the first time that we played the same sport apart, like.
Yeah, and was that because sorry, this is criticism against your brother, but is this like, were you ambitious? Did you have real ambition to make it as a professional rugby back then?
Yeah, and I would have been.
Or did you just have ambition just to test yourself? You wasn't sure where it was going to bring you at that stage?
Yeah, like I don't think you're ever sure where it's going to bring you, but we both went to South Munster under 17 trials, I think, and you know, you can be unlucky there as well, but I got 60 minutes in the trial. Everyone was supposed to get kind of some bit of a run, and I got 60 minutes and he got 10, you know. Yeah. So he just didn't feel like going back. Yeah. And I obviously got on quite well, so I just kind of continued that path, but I didn't overthink it either. Like I just kind of went with it. Yeah. And that South Munster year, I don't know what happened, but I think it kind of fell apart. The games didn't really happen, and
did you jump into a college setup then? Was that?
Went into college then. I kind of trained with Sun as well for the summer. Wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I went over to college, alright, and I got into that kind of like, again, I had a bit of bursitis in my knee going into college, so I missed the first kind of couple of weeks of the pre-season, and I was a year young, being a triplet, being sent off to school. I was a year young going into college, so we had all the under-20s with Munster ahead of us.
Physically, that probably went against you small.
Well, like, we were just under 19, and they were all under-20, so Kevin Kidney's year and Johnny Mack and all these lads were a lot of Munster representative players out there. So I felt like going out to trials again, like you had 70 guys in first year going out to play rugby, like it was ridiculous. But I played a small bit of full back, and then I did play 10 there, which was, you know, and I'd always say that to players now to come through, that you can't avoid the competition. Like, you know, it would have been easy for me to stay at Sun as well and try to get senior rugby, and Kevin Kidney would be out in UCC and people wouldn't be really looking at me, like, because he would have been lording it. But I ended up starting at 10 for a while there, and we won
for UCC seniors.
No, for the 20s, but we were quite competitive.
But that UCC 20s team was like the cream of crop, all the schools players in the city, and anyone coming into the city would.
So we won in All-Ireland that year, and Andrew Burke was playing with the senior team. He was in the Munster Academy at the time, and he came back to our 20s team. But Richie Kelleher, the coach at the time, kind of, I'd say, allowed me play at 10, but he kept me at 10, and he put Berkey to 15. So it was kind of put a bit of trust in me, and I played well enough. I feel I played well enough anyway, and I got an A game off the back of it. So that's kind of another direction of how it went. Like, I've obviously played 19s and 20s at Munster as well, and then went into the sub academy, but that was kind of an early A game for me, like, in a once off. Axel kind of brought me in for an away trip just to get a taste, I'd say.
Wow, do you remember your first time into the kind of Munster setup?
I remember driving up on my own, not having a clue what to do. Like, they were all fairly used to going to UL. I was
it was the dual back then, was Cork and Limerick, was it? Okay.
And I parked across the way in a park. I didn't know where to go. Like, I didn't even enter the grounds. I walked over and I did a training session there, right? And then we went to.
And did you love it? Like, you know,
I don't remember
straight away.
No, I don't remember. Like, kind of, I don't remember the detail of the session, so I would have been very uncomfortable. Like, but just kind of get on with it. And I remember the trip over there. All right. I remember.
And that first training session, are you in with the senior team there? Or are you training academy separate?
No, I think it was probably fairly academy based at the time. Like, I know, like, Mike Sherry and Dave Kilcoyne and those kind of guys, it was their year. Owen Grace is over in England now. Paul Rowley is over in the UK. And there was some fellas who were still, like, I don't know, Stephen Archer there and these kind of guys, but I didn't know anyone. It was kind of a couple of years ahead of me. Like, I didn't really know anyone, so it was definitely uncomfortable. I'm not sure if I knew anyone kind of quite well or not, but.
And then outside of that, then once you come out of 20s UCC, was it Cork you went to then, or?
So I played a senior year after that in UCC, and we stayed up last game of the season. We didn't realise we needed to win with a bonus point. Played against Paddy Jackson's side, actually up in up north. Who did
David
he play?
Mahoney coaching, is he?
No, it was Connor Toomey.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
CT, very good, yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose that was a good learning curve for me as well, because CT kind of puts all his efforts into his 10, or he did anyway for me, and that's at the time he did, and I had to be the leader, like, and that was probably something I needed. I was quieter, and I hadn't run a team like that before. I didn't play schools rugby where it was massively structured. I played in the club scene where you can just go out and throw the ball around, really, with a bit of structure, but not as much as what you get in schools rugby. So kind of leading a team probably wasn't my strong point, funnily enough.
Is that something you think that you learn along the way, or is it inside in you? Like, is leadership something that you...
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think you can learn some of it, but you have to have that kind of a mindset where you're going to be, like, you have to be able to want to take the bull by the horns, I suppose, and not accept anyone else taking it, or not accept anyone else's standards in a way. But
kind of coach given their faith in you, is that something that you kind of helps you in a leadership role?
I think the game nearly put you into the position, like, and I played a bit of 10 and 15 and stuff, but I don't know, you play a bit of ball and then you end up in a 10 position, and then maybe because you're a 10 you have to start taking that on, and coaches will tell you need to start speaking up more, or you need to start controlling things a little bit more, and that's always a challenge for a 10. Even when fellas are quite yappy, they'll still have to learn the game management piece of it. There'll still be a coach coaching them, like, they don't just decide to be the 10 and they're a good 10, And
then were you doing a lot of stuff at that point off the pitch for your own learning and your own kind of development, like even outside of kind of physical training?
In terms of college and stuff?
No, you're studying, but in terms of rugby development, that game management and...
I don't know, I probably just watched a lot of rugby naturally anyway. I didn't watch it with my analysis head on, but that's something you do when you get older. Some people don't watch the game at all. And other fellas, like, I'd be sitting at home watching with my brother and my dad, and I'd be rewinding it and
looking at things
and trying to have another look at the replays and stuff. But I would have watched a lot of rugby. Like, when I was younger, I remember my friends going to the cinema and I'd stay at home to watch Six Nations games that weren't Ireland, so I would have watched a lot of rugby, and I think that's where guys learn. And maybe these days they're learning too much, like, and flicking the ball here and there, but that's probably where, if you're into it, you're going to watch a lot of it and you'll probably learn a lot of your rugby there. But I would have kicked quite a bit, like, on my own, and my dad would have come out with me and my brother would have come out. But I remember my dad lying in the rain, like in the muck, so he could hold the ball for me to kick when the wind was howling. Like, I shouldn't have been out kicking at all, but he was lying down in his rain jacket.
Who were your geez, fair play, Dad. Who is the things your parents do for you when you grow up? It's mad, isn't it? Who were your kind of heroes back then, like rugby heroes?
I was actually big into Jonny Wilkinson, even though, like, it had to be Rog, like, Munster and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but Jonny Wilkinson, I got through his books, and I was always kind of into him anyway, I think.
What's his coach, Dave
Aldred?
He's unbelievable. He's
like,
he crossed over to coaching golf and
all that
kind of stuff.
He's over with the Reds, that was in Australia.
Yeah, he's coached Johnny Sexton as well, and a few other people.
I remember being on the pitch as a sub-academy player or something, and I think he came over for a session with Rog, and I was kind of looking on the far side, like, and I wouldn't like to insult him as an old guy, but he was definitely long past rugby retirement, and he was kind of on the run spiral kicks, like, ridiculous stuff with Rog, and you didn't know which one was the
what
pro.
Is it that from Jonny Wilkinson that you admired most?
I think it was his tackling. Like, I liked tackling when I was younger. I was small, like, and fellas would laugh at this, saying there's no way a 10 likes to tackle, but I used to enjoy it, like, and probably packed a bit of a punch, and for the size of me, like, I wasn't big by any stretch, but
Jonny was he was like a robot nearly, wasn't he? Everything, his practice, his dedication, his discipline.
But if you see some of his hits, like, his highlight reel, there'll be some tackles in there as well, so that's probably something I liked. I don't know why I liked it, but
even Johnny's mental strength, even that World Cup in 2003, didn't he miss?
He missed a good couple of
two or
his
three,
left foot,
drop goals, and then took it off his right foot. He's pretty, like, his favourite foot. He has one, but it was the left foot.
That's probably why I liked him as well. Left footer, like, so I was left footed. I'm left footed.
But he went on. He had some career in France, didn't he? European Cups, and
he went to Toulon and probably got the success that he was worth, like, winning Heineken Cups and stuff, instead of sticking to his.
He also had injuries, and like, it's since transpired. I'm going to be paraphrasing. He had some mental health issues as well. I think
it was that kind of, like, 10s are obsessive, and you can you have to be kind of practicing
quite isolated,
the whole time.
Isn't it?
But I think he did, like, it was kind of like being obsessed, borderline, OCD about kicking, and I don't know how much. Like, obviously there's mental health issues there, but, like, I think it was in very much more of an obsessed way and maybe nervous and missing, so he just go kicking and kicking as opposed to struggling in other ways, like, but it was just kind of complete obsession with the game, like.
But I think a lot of the top because top players have that, don't they? They have something in
Yeah,
them
you
that
see-
just sets them out differently.
You're going to have to give up a whole load. Like, you know, I remember missing 18s and different things, and I remember coming back from Ulster under 18 game and getting to one of my better friends, like one of my best friends, 18s. Like, he was really in bed before I even got there because he was passed out at 11 o'clock.
Good night.
Yeah, I won't name him. But I came back and I still had my shirt and tie on, and I had to go over to there, like, and not that I had to, but I wanted to go over.
Sure.
But you miss most of it, like, and you miss a load of 18s that you know all your friends are going to.
But
and
then
all that kind of stuff.
because if we fast forward a bit, say the first time you ran out in Thomond Park, or Musgrave Park, wearing the full Munster jersey, like, did that feeling just make it all worthwhile?
Not really, like.
Did it not? No.
Like
Okay.
I mean, it's worthwhile, but I don't think you ever. If you're happy enough to run out in the gear, you're not going to run out in it again, like. And that's something that you'd see in young players who they hang on long enough to get their first set of gear in the academy or something. It's all they're going to get because they're not in it for the right reasons, or they're not kind of. They don't have the right kind of mentality towards it. Like, if you're only looking for a set of gear, you can buy one of those. Like,
but I mean, I don't mean the jersey itself. I mean, like, the actual whole representing Munster.
Yeah, no, like
on the
I
pitch.
definitely had that. I remember going over to Cardiff and coming on and defending for 10 minutes and being delighted myself.
Yeah.
And you know, they had a maul and 12 running down the 10s channel. Like, that's a vulnerable position for me, especially like 10s, but smaller 10s as well when you're coming up against a physical 12. But and I'd stopped them and all the rest of it. Big deal, like. But I just felt, you know, it was a nice little victory. And you do feel it kind of, it's different running onto a pitch where there's actually a crowd around you. Like, I remember watching games from the sideline and it feels like you're watching a FIFA game, or, you know, it's just very surreal and close. But I did have that feeling, but I don't think you're ever kind of that satisfied where you kind of look back and go, oh, class, like, I've done it now. You don't really, you never think about that until, well, for me anyway, until afterwards, when you get to have a look back without, like, I think once you're in the game, you're always afraid to look back too much and give yourself a pat in the back because it could be gone from you in any second if you kind of take your eye off it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So not until I really reflected after I got out of the game that you start kind of saying, geez, that was a nice moment, like.
And then, I suppose, for anyone looking at this that isn't really familiar with the ins and outs of Munster Rugby, you were kind of on the way up, weren't you? You were just about, and I'm not, you know, you were kind of establishing yourself as the out half. You've had, you know, you had getting your first couple of starts on the pathway.
I felt I had my hand on the jersey anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
and your profile was increasing. Your, you know, your confidence is increasing. You're like, obviously, you know, good performance leading to confidence leading to good performance, and all that. And
it was funny, like, because you're right, like, that's the kind of, I just had a nice kind of 6 months, maybe 3 to 4 months properly in that senior team, and it's kind of it was an unfortunate time to reach that kind of higher level, like. But I did feel like I had a kind of a hand on the jersey, and that I wasn't in fear of being selected next week. It was like I got a massive backing from Axel again to start that Leinster game, but I wasn't really worried about it. If I got selected, and I kind of went on with it, but in my head I was so nervous, like, and people are kind of saying, how are you so calm about things, and people still say that to me, like, even oh, you seem comfortable enough, and I was like, I was freaking out in my head, you know. I'm just trying to keep my shit together, like, you know. So
I think that's across a lot of professions. A lot of people are like that when they're first in kind of a kind of unknown environment. But just on the professional rugby side of things, like the actual day-to-day life of a rugby player, it's a bubble, isn't it? You know, you're told what time to get up, what time to arrive at training, when to eat, what to wear. My
brother would slag me over this, like, and he always did when in the academy, but when he got into the senior setup as well. And I kind of, when I was speaking out, he told that to people yesterday, like, that he would slag me over what I'm wearing and what I do when I go to work, because they'd be like, everyone going out the door to work, and we kind of like, oh, you have a tough day ahead of you now. And I was like, this is tough, like, and they're kind of like, oh yeah, we have to go out and actually earn a living. And I was kind of going, oh, I must go for a massage first thing, and they're like, what? And I was like, this isn't a nice massage, like, you're getting
deep tissue.
I was like, it's not nice. And they were like, sure, like, you know. But he'd always slag me about kind of going, oh, turn up, told what t-shirt to wear, kind of just follow the lads into the next room, like, lift that, okay, grand, out to the pitch, follow everyone down, like. And we got to a stage where
there's a reason for that. It's because professional rugby has gone so professional.
Oh, it is, like,
every minute of your day.
You don't feel like that when you're inside there, though. Like, I mean, when I got out of the game and I'm trying to book a flight, and it's kind of like, Chloe, can I book that, and will you book it? And
but I know, I was like talking to Donegal Ryan a lot, and like he's saying what actually makes the professional rugby player is the other 23 hours of your day.
Oh yeah.
You know, that 1 hour you might be on a pitch, or 2 hours. What you do for the other 22 hours is actually defines you.
I'd be kind of sitting there with Chloe watching TV, and the screen is that way and we're both looking there, but my head is over here, like thinking about what's my next meal, or would she freak out here if I got up and started stretching, like, you know, while we're both watching the TV. So those kind of things I don't think, like, a lot of people don't switch off, and I don't think you can, like, you might.
But I think that's about if you're passionate about something, like doing something you really love, like you just immerse yourself so much.
Some people are very good at kind of compartmentalising it. They'll be able to go, when training's over, I'm going to get a bite to eat and I'm actually going away hanging out with people. But like, I was hanging out with people, I'd bring a shaker full of porridge, like, and I was making sure I didn't miss a meal and things. I was kind of going too far with it, but you can actually enjoy your life a little bit. But I think I was at that stage in my career where I was still kind of learning to enjoy it a small bit more, and I was just starting to kind of settle down a small bit. Now, it was the most nervous couple of matches I played, but like, I was just starting to come to terms with the fact that... I suppose
till you test yourself, you don't know what's the other side of that fear, isn't it?
And like, even Chloe was just coming to terms with buying into the whole thing and kind of
enjoying it.
Yeah, we decided, okay, I was going to be a rugby player for another small while, you know, as opposed to kind of going, well, I didn't play a game in the last while, what am I actually going to do with my life? I just had kind of crossed that line and said, you know, this is going to be my career for a small while. And it wasn't.
Yeah, because like, not to put too harsh a phrase on it, but they say that sports people, professional rugby players, have two deaths. Yeah. One is the day your rugby days stop, and the second is your actual physical death. So like and I've seen a lot of players, you know, when their career ends, and like someone can choose it. Very few get to choose when their career ends, and some it's age, and then some it's injury after kind of like what is the like 10, 12 years max, you know, even at that of a lifetime of 80, 90 years, that's a small portion of your life. But yours, like, was just right at the starting point of it. Was that?
Yeah, like, I suppose people kind of say, and this, you know, Conor Murray was an overnight sensation. He wasn't. He was working away in the background. And for me, like, when I tell that story about maybe playing at Munster, that it started at 16 and 17. You know, it didn't just start as you play a couple of games. So like, what people see as a couple of years, or even for a full-blown 10, 12-year professional career, there's probably another 10 years on the other side of that. Like, you know, so it takes over your life, and the amount of hours in a day that it takes over as well, it's all consuming, like, and it is a bubble, like you said.
Did it just fall off the edge of a cliff then? It's like one day just that's it, like?
Yeah, well, I suppose I
know like, I'm not being dismissive of like the aftercare of Munster Rugby and your colleagues would have know about Munster Rugby, but like for yourself, was it like? It
was one day you were a rugby player and the next day I wasn't. You know, it really was that kind of that different.
And is there like a psychological and mental challenge you have to get over yourself there? Is there a self-worth issue? Is there like
100%, yeah. Like, I mean, when I say like the 31st of August I was a rugby player, the 1st of September I wasn't. But like, I knew from June, July I was in trouble, August I knew I was retiring, but it's not done until it's done, like, you know. And I was actually coming out of the dentist and I got a text being like, we're ready to go. I was waiting on a report back from a surgeon in the UK, and it was kind of like, we're ready to go. It was probably going to be in the news in the next hour or two, and I was like, Jesus, I have to get home here and lock myself away so people can't speak to me.
Ready to go, they're going to announce?
They was going to announce it, like, but I knew it was coming, I just didn't know when. And I remember walking over the road with my phone in my hand, reading the text going, shit, just get home as fast as possible. Like, I don't know why, I just wanted to get into a comfort zone, I suppose. And you do, though, you lose your identity, and that's something I spoke about quite a bit. People would say, like, what do you do? And you say, I'm a rugby player, and then the next day, what do you do? I was a rugby player, you know, and that's a very hard kind of bridge to cross until you know what you're doing. And a lot of rugby players don't know what they're going to do for a long time. Like, and I got a job for a year, and people would ask me, what do you do? Even in the office, they'd say, what do you do here? And I'd say, not a whole lot. And I was getting in trouble in work, like, because they'd say, what are you doing? Like, you can't keep saying not a whole lot. You do something. I'm like, I don't really do anything. Like, I didn't feel passionate about it. I kind of liked it in a sense, and I was learning a lot going out to work like a normal person, but like, I didn't feel very satisfied from it, and that's probably where the answer came from. But probably got really awkward for people listening to that, like, and they did kind of give out to me a small bit, saying like, you do stuff, like, you know, I have to feel a bit like you've got a self-worth there as well, but I had to make up a story.
Your self-worth isn't now attributable to like kicking a conversion or making a tackle, or that it's transferred over.
But I couldn't keep saying I did, or I don't do anything, or I did do this. I had to kind of answer that question, and until I could answer it, I wasn't able to move forward a bit. Like, so I suppose I made up the answer for a small while in terms of, not really made it up, but I started trying to believe what I was saying. And then you do start believing it more and more.
And was that though because you did go into kind of a period of self-discovery, questioning yourself of where is the next step for me? Or
yeah, I think naturally you have to, like, whether I kind of looked very internally or not, you're going to be asked the question, what do you do next? Like, you just all of a sudden have to find a new career. But I remember saying to Chloe, like, oh, we'll stay in bed on Saturday now and I'll just chill out. Saturday, like 8 o'clock, you ping, you're awake, like, and what am I going to do? And she's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's kind of
Is that like, I suppose one of those, is that probably maybe not your metabolism, but you feel like you want to be out there doing stuff, you're a highly motivated person.
Yeah, I just
But
don't
then
like
did
to
you,
chill out anyway.
were you a bit kind of going, I have all this energy, but I don't know where the direction is wrong at the
but
moment?
like, I ended up just going to the gym, and I'd go twice a day because I didn't know what else to do, and like that felt like I was achieving something even though I wasn't achieving anything. Maybe I was staying healthy, but you know, we'd go into the training, first thing we do is go to the gym and someone would say well done, like, you know, or good numbers or a good lift or whatever it was, and then you just move on to the next part.
Huge camaraderie though in the rugby.
Yeah, there was,
scene,
like, but and there was
yeah.
like slagging through gym sessions and stuff, which
Yeah.
made it good crack. But
Yeah,
I can go to the gym on my own and enjoy it. But like,
yeah.
that's probably why I went there. It felt like I was after doing the first task of the day, but it wasn't the first
So
task.
when did you kind of, because I know you've come along now to where we're at now, and you have your own company, nutrition and wellness, and dealing with kind of a holistic approach to fitness, and you're into strength and conditioning. I know you're getting into coaching now as well. When was there a kind of a light bulb moment after the rugby where you transferred a passion into this, or was it
really? I'd started my postgrad nutrition kind of online distance learning, but I just went from, like I say, I fell off the edge of a cliff and didn't know what I was doing. I don't know, did I take probably 2 or 3 days and decided I'm going to just get up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I think it was about 7 o'clock. I used to wake up and I used to go to the gym, and then I kind of said that, or I used to have my breakfast and then start studying by about 8 o'clock. And I kind of thought that was silly because I'd spend an hour fucking around eating breakfast and pretending I was doing a bit of stretching and all that kind of stuff, be an hour and a half before I'd actually study. So I just wake up, pick up the laptop, study, wait to have breakfast, then start my day, do another small bit, then go to the gym in the afternoon, eat after that and do another bit, and I was done. And I kind of just treated my day with a bit of structure, and I needed that. Like, some people don't want the structure, they love not having it, but I needed to get back into a structure, and that's just what I did. So I had that postgrad. There's 1 or 2 opportunities within that if I had been qualified, so that probably focused me to go and get it finished, but those opportunities didn't really work out for whatever reason. But I reached out, like Cork kind of asked me to coach and stuff as well, so I stayed doing that. I stayed doing a couple of sessions up in Limerick, and I was just kind of toying with the coaching thing, but I didn't know, like, I didn't really want to be a coach. I didn't care, you know. I didn't think I was going to be doing it at 25. At 35 I didn't want to be a coach.
Is that, not that you fell out of love with the game, was that you thought, like, coaches are for outlads, or, like, you know,
I just thought,
what
you
knowledge
know,
can you pass on, or was that a factor?
But I felt like I did want to go back into doing something at that stage, but my mind before I got injured, I was like, you know, I'm going to be 35 retiring, and I don't want to have to spend my weekends kind of telling Chloe we can't do things, or not being able to book a holiday or whatever a weekend away. Like, so I just said, once I'm done with it, I'll be done with it. But I thought it would be at 35. Like, so then I kind of felt like I did have something to kind of give back to somebody. So I just kind of dipped my toe in the water, and Jonny Holland probably didn't force me into it, but he kind of, like, I was doing 1 or 2 nights at the 20s kind of ad hoc, and then he said, will you do it properly? And I said, no, I don't want to do it. Give us 1 night a week. And I said, grand. I tried to say no, like, but I couldn't do it. And 1 night became 2 nights, and 2 nights and a game, and then it kind of grew. Like, but to be fair to them, they put a bit of faith in me as well and asked me to do the senior team.
And are you on the pathway for your coaching badges now and all that kind of stuff?
I did my level 4, right?
Before,
Not sure if I finished it, but I went and did the course, and I did my assessment and stuff like that. But, you know, again, it's not the coaching courses aren't something that I care to really go after. Like, I just like coaching, and I like going out onto the pitch, so I'll keep coaching if I have to do a badge at some stage to get to somewhere grand, like, but I'm not going to rush back. So
business-wise, so can you just tell us a bit about your business?
That's something that I kind of fell into as well. So, like, obviously sole trader at the moment, and I was working in that other company for a year, but I crossed over there, and like, the woman working in HR there was quite good to me and kind of put me in touch with a few people, just saying that, you know, people want to hear your story and stuff. And I was like, of course they don't. I've cried in every newspaper and radio over the last couple of months. Like, you know, they don't need to listen to it again. But she was adamant that people kind of, first of all, want to hear it, but also pay money to hear it. And she kind of forced me into it, to be honest. And to be fair to her, like, and that started a kind of a LinkedIn thing that I just kind of threw it out there. Did a couple of talks, and then when I did the talks, I realised that I was kind of coaching 1 or 2 people on the side.
Is it public speaking or is it private? Or
like, it's for companies and all. But, like, I started with 1 or 2 companies and 1 or 2 individuals. But when I felt I was speaking to people as a group, I wasn't getting anything back from individuals, or there was no kind of follow up. So I was like, all right, go on, I'll put up something, a Facebook page, and then maybe I'll do a website instead, and that kind of got launched then the 1st of January last year. And that's probably what started it then. I had a good contact who gave me more talks, and that kind of started snowballing. So then I had a lot of work going on, and I couldn't really I didn't have enough time to be chasing enough of that side of it. So back in April, I gave up the other job, the one I'd been doing, and went out on my own. But that was like a big decision to make, to see if I could make enough money. But at that stage, if I didn't do it then, I was never going to do it. So I did that, and that was only 8 months ago.
Are you talking, is it wellness, nutrition,
the whole
so
thing? I did a lot on kind of resilience and goal setting and stuff like that when I first came out of the game. And then obviously with my nutrition qualification, I just finished that around the time before I started that other job for a year, but was in a supplement company kind of. And
are you when you say you're talking to the staff about how they can improve their mindset, improve their wellness, improve their
and then I went into more nutrition side of it. So I kind of cover people would ask me, what do you cover? And I was like, I can cover whatever you want, but I'm qualified to cover nutrition. My experiences would qualify me to speak about kind of resilience and goal setting and nutrition, because I went through it as an athlete, as well as the other side of it, so the kind of theory of it. So that's where one of my strengths was, probably the practical application to it as well. So that kind of just started building out further, and people kind of asked me to do things, and I was probably surprised by that, like writing for the 42.e last month, not last month, last year.
You made your breakthrough onto TV commentary.
I did a small bit, something that makes me massively uncomfortable. This camera makes me uncomfortable, never mind the TG Carter one, but that was my second time doing it, but my first time doing interviews and stuff like that. So I did a bit of analysis the first time, and hearing a lot of people speaking Irish over their headphones, and then trying to get the cue to do your thing. But it was tough, but I enjoy it. Like, it's weird. It's like playing matches, but you're massively outside your comfort zone. Yeah. And you hate playing them, but you love the kind of feeling afterwards, or you love the involvement of it. And I don't hate playing matches. Like, I have to try and learn to enjoy those, but I don't know if I really enjoy things beforehand, and then I force myself to do it, and then I do it, and I kind of say that was kind of half alright, and then they ask you to do it again, you're like, oh no, and you start the process again, But so I did a bit of that, and I'm doing some writing with RT and stuff like that. So it's great. It's just kind of branching out in all different directions. Yeah, sure.
And so is business going well? So the actual core of your business for the last 8 months?
Yeah,
have you had like setting out on your own? Like, you're quite young. Are you 27 now?
27. Yeah.
To set out in your own pathway in business. Like, there's probably a lot of challenges out there as well.
Yeah, like I was never someone that I didn't think I was going to set up my own business. But I've had a lot of opportunities, I suppose, in a short space of time. I'm with the Cork hurlers and footballers at the moment, the senior lads. I do, I'm obviously doing all my own thing, my one-on-ones, a lot of speaking with Irish Life and Pep Talk and myself and through different companies and stuff like that. So just a lot of different avenues that I didn't go looking for, but they've just kind of happened naturally enough.
I think opportunity, you have to be ready to take it and make the most of it.
And I just would have never have said no to even meeting someone or whatever it was. I might not have always wanted to do it, but I just say, yeah, go on, I'll have a chat or whatever, and it just kind of opens up more and more doors. So it just kind of happened, and I wouldn't say, that's probably one thing that when I came out of rugby, I wouldn't say no to anybody, just in case there was an opportunity there, and I probably said probably said yes to too many people. Yeah. But
you don't want to spread yourself too thin either. But I suppose
No, but I didn't know where I was going, so I just kind of would be open to whatever it was. Now, if it didn't suit me, I would have said, that's not for me. But I kind of.
So if there's any companies out there, anyone that wants to contact you right now, what's the best way to get it?
My website is JonnyHolland10.com.
I think Mark, our video guy, will put the details up on the screen there.
Yeah.
So that's Facebook, Instagram.
I don't use my Facebook for business, but Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn quite a bit actually, but I use my Instagram.
I suppose you're talking to companies, and your kind of audience is a very LinkedIn friendly audience.
I had to do a quick kind of update of my LinkedIn before I was launching that. Whatever I tried to launch my business in a year ago, but updated, and even though it's not updated, I must do it again. But update my website is just trying to get on top of everything. But my website is just a nice place to, as a landing page, especially.
Brilliant.
But
that's brilliant,
and then my LinkedIn, my Instagram, my Twitter is just my Instagram and Twitter is where I kind of put things out there, even though I'm very uncomfortable with that. Having to, at the start, I was like, I don't want to do it because I thought people would kind of judge you, and people do, but that's the nature of it. You just have to get comfortable with it, So that's the best place to. They're the best places to get me.
Judge you anyway, so you may as well just do it.
Exactly.
That's what I believe. That's what I do.
I still be thinking twice. Chloe's probably, her head was wrecked the last week now with the TG Carter thing. I'd be saying, oh, so-and-so said that I wasn't so good, or this person actually told me I was alright, and that makes you feel good for 2 seconds, and then she was like, people are going to say things like, will you just shut up, kind of thing. And she's dead right,
I think once you put yourself out there a small bit, that bravery to put yourself out there, and then to kind of transfer that, like, you're going to get criticism no matter what you do.
Yeah, but like even when I played the game, I wouldn't even use my Instagram that much. Like I was, not that I'm afraid of people's opinion. Like, I mean, I did that for a living, where people criticise you openly, and even your coaches who are supposed to coach you criticise you. That's part of the game. Like, so I'm not afraid of criticism.
Called constructive criticism.
Exactly. Like, I'm not afraid of it. But you just it's kind of like not an insecurity, but it's kind of just I don't want people to think that I'm kind of operating outside of my scope, or who do you might think he is, kind of thing. Like, and that's probably from being within a group, and you step outside the group at any stage.
Do you think your experiences as a player and then through your injury, do you think that putting that onto the mix is actually going to make you a really good coach? And is that you can actually, I suppose, communicate with players now that you've had such a setback?
Yeah, and I suppose people will speak to me just because I've got an injury. Like they might like, there's a physio there, but they might speak to me anyway. And I think you've got a different angle just because playing the game. I think you coach from a player's perspective. At this stage of my coaching career, I think I still do anyway. That I'm looking at what the players might be thinking at the moment, as opposed to coaches sometimes when they're fairly removed from the game at this stage. Not removed from the game, but as a player, it's very objective or black and white. Whereas you kind of say, they might not be thinking that way, So I think that definitely gives you a bit of a help, or maybe the players like that, whether it makes you the best coach you can be at the time, I don't know, but like players definitely appreciate that side of it, and I think it's a bit relatable, right? And I don't know, people still ask me about my injury and stuff, and even I did a talk 2 weeks ago, and the feedback from it was people wanted to hear more about you and more about your injury and your career, and I was like, I thought it was the last thing people want to hear about,
I think there's a lot of empathy out there. Do you know that people see it and the effort, and that you're on the pathway, and then all of a sudden it's just taken cruelly. And like I think people want to hear a good news story as well, and maybe that now that you're dealt with that bravely and full on, and now that you're kind of getting on in business.
I suppose it's something that I would have been uncomfortable with, is getting too much attention from people, and like I would always, I'm grand, I'm grand.
Yeah, that's an Irish mentality, though. Male mentality.
But I would try just to get on with things anyway. So like when people were kind of feeling very sorry for me, I'd be like, yuck stuff. But like it's nice. There was a lot of people reached out to me, and there was a lot of people still do kind of ask me about my story, and like they would look back at it very complimentary of me as well. And it's kind of like, I just find it very strange still. I just don't get it a lot of the time when people want to hear more about it. I'm just like, I feel like I've spoken to everyone about it, but there's still people who might learn from it, and I have to understand that as well, because even when I got that feedback recently, I was like, yeah, fair enough, they might not have heard it as much as what I've heard it, so but I'm like, people think, oh, you're alright to talk about that, and I'm like, speak about whatever you want. I wouldn't hide anything from anybody, but I just find sometimes that it's probably not a lack of confidence, but just maybe like some people are very good at marketing it and always putting themselves out there and speaking about themselves. I suppose it was never something I was fairly confident.
It's a skill too, you can learn that with practice. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming into us today.
No problem at all.
We really appreciate having you here, listen to your story. I know your business and your talks and your coaching career, I think if you apply the same attention and the same discipline as your rugby career, I think you're going to be a huge success. We're going to watch you, and we wish you really, really the best of luck, Jonny.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.